I've been unpacking the idea of rejection, I've realized that rejection can show up in a couple of different ways. I believe rejection is the most common form of human trauma.
Okay.
A lot of people are hurting people, they're hurting each other because of unaddressed pain from rejection. The contention that I make in this book is that rejection is a training ground.
Yeah.
Pain is its wrapping paper.
Facts.
When rejection happens, it comes wrapped in pain.
Yeah.
But the gift is on the inside.
Yeah.
Imagine that somebody accepts you because of who you pretend to be.
I've been there.
Right?
I've been there.
That is actually rejection. Because think about it. They're accepting who you're pretending to be. I would rather be disliked for who I am than liked for who I'm not.
Nona, you need to get up out of here. What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the table. It's your boy, Anthony ONeal. And on today's show, you guys, we're going to dive into a topic that resonates with so many of us. I mean, including myself, you know, and the highlight of today's show is the power of rejection, both negative and or positive. You know, we're exploring the powerful insights from my dear friend, Nona Jones, her new book, The Gift of Rejection. It is a must read for all people. I'm talking about men, women, young, old, of all ages who have ever felt the sting of possibly not being good enough. And I'm gonna be honest and vulnerable with you. I felt that even in a height of my success, even as I'm rising and growing and evolving and maturing, I've questioned, am I even good enough? Whether it's a pain of being turned away by your loved ones, facing closed doors in your career, or watching others succeed while you feel left behind, rejection can leave a lasting impact on our mental health. But here's the reality. Rejection, as painful as it can be, doesn't have to define who you are. In fact, Nona's new book challenges us to see rejection as a gift per se, as a catalyst that can propel us towards our greatest achievements. This isn't just theory. Check this out. Did you know that rejection has been shown to significantly impact our self-esteem? With up to 70% of people reporting a decrease in how they see themselves after facing rejection. And for some, the pain can spiral into something more serious like depression, which affects 25 to 30% of those who have repeatedly experienced rejection. But yet, my dear sister Nona's story shows us another way. Through her own experiences of abandonment, romantic breakups, I didn't know about that one, and career setbacks, I'm confused. We're gonna talk about it all today because she really invites us to flip the script. Nona's message has gone viral on my platform before. We may say something today that may get us in a little bit of trouble, but at the end of the day, you guys, I want you to dial in. I don't want you to be distracted during this show. I really want you to dial in on this show. Y'all, let's welcome back my dear sister, Nona Jones, to the table for the second or third time?
I think second.
Second time?
I think second. Yeah,
second time. Yo, welcome back to the table.
It's good to be
What's
here,
up?
brother.
Yo, I mean, let's catch up.
Yes.
The last time you came on this show, we was talking about BBLs. and all that type of stuff. It went viral, and that was fun. But since then, what's new with Nona? You got a new book, but outside of that, what's new with you?
Yeah, so I think last time I was here, we were talking about the book Killing Comparison.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think at the time I was at Meta. I left Meta. This was about a year or so ago, and I started working at the Bible app, and I was leading the content and partnerships team there.
Yes.
And you know, about maybe 8 or 9 months into that role, I just felt like the Lord was calling me to a different place. And since then, I've transitioned out of organizations. I'm actually leading my own company full time. I'm in ministry full time, and so a lot has changed, but it's all been for the better.
Man, that's a lot.
Yeah.
You left Meta, you left the Bible app, which is two great companies.
Oh yeah.
If you all do not know this, our company is in the Bible app. We release a Bible study every single month. And we actually are going to be doing some other good things with them actually coming up here in regards to my book. And all that is because of Nona. You know, I remember her calling me, she said, hey, yo, I need to get you in the Bible app. And we had a real good conversation. And much love to the Bible app, because everything you started, they're still doing it.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and it's just a great,
awesome organization, yeah.
Great
Doing
company.
great work.
But I want to get straight into this, Nona, because I think a lot of us has faced rejection.
Sure.
Whether that is, I would say, relationships, whether that is careers, whether that's personal goals. I wanna talk about this, because you and your husband have built a level of success and wealth. Great church, great businesses. But how did you find the strength to continue running and to build the level of success and wealth after all of the rejections you actually talk about inside of this amazing book?
Well, you know what's interesting for me is as I've been unpacking the idea of rejection, I've realized that rejection can show up in a couple of different ways. So those of us that have experienced rejection, some people, what I call implode, which is they end up in addictions, self-harm, all types of things that are kind of harmful to themselves. But then others of us, we explode. When we experience rejection, we explode, but we do it in one of two ways. Either it's we get angry, you know, we're hostile, we kind of have a chip on our shoulder. But then there are others of us who explode into achievement.
Wow.
And so rejection can become a fuel for ambition. Why? Because there's this idea that I need to achieve more to be more because I was rejected. There's like a void of worth and value that I want to fill by the job titles. I want to fill by even the balance sheet. I want to fill by the awards and recognitions. And so for me, I think what I achieved in life, I had to come to terms with the fact that so much of it was because of a primary rejection experience I had with my mother and her telling me that I was not enough, that she didn't want me, that she wished she never had me. And so on the one hand, I think I was fortunate because I did not implode into self-harm, and I did not explode into anger, but I did explode into ambition, which was a toxic form of ambition. So that's how I've been able to, I think, accumulate success in the face of rejection. And I can kind of talk about it now that I'm on the other side of the recognition.
You know, I don't know if I want to say that.
You should. You should say what you're thinking.
I don't know if I want to say it, because I mean, I think that I've experienced rejection in the past. And the rejection that I've experienced, I would say partially was a direct rejection to me. And it wasn't to me, but it was surrounding me, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You know, I say this oftentimes, you know, my mom rejected my biological father. And because of that rejection, I saw it, but I didn't know where it was coming from. But growing up, I saw some things with my dad, and it was because of him being rejected by mom. And then because of me realizing that, wow, my mom did that to my dad, I felt rejected. And then I started rejecting others because the fear of being rejected.
Hurt people. That's the reality. And I think, like, so I was actually talking to my makeup artist before I even came here. We were talking about relationships, and she's single, and this idea that—
She's beautiful?
Listen, I can make the connection now. Don't worry. I can make the connection.
I just need to ask the question.
But we were talking about how she was saying it's so hard to really find a man who, number one, wants to commit.
It is not. Let's talk about rejection.
Where's your wedding ring?
What you mean? Hold on.
Right.
Just because I don't have a wedding ring, sis,
commit
doesn't mean I don't want to commit.
Actually, it does.
No.
That's just like somebody being. That's just like somebody being like, I
know who you remind me of right now? She reminds me of Sarah Jake.
I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight, but I don't go to the gym.
But it doesn't mean that person has a problem with the gym, though.
But it means they're not committed to what they want. Because what you want, you will. Okay, so anyway, let me get off this. We're about to have an intervention. Let me get back to what I was saying. Let me back to what I'm saying. So what I was saying is, hurt people. And so she was talking about how hard it is to find a guy who wants to commit. And then we started talking about the red pill community, right?
Yeah.
How there's this manosphere of men who are just angry at women, and they just were like, women are this, that, and the other.
Okay.
what I believe in my heart of hearts, and I have not talked to anybody in the so-called manosphere, is
Touch it.
These are a bunch of men who have experienced rejection. At the end of the day, these are at the heart of this man, because you cannot hate a woman when all you've experienced is love, right?
Facts.
I would bet
that
they have experienced a deep rejection where they were vulnerable with someone who hurt them. And so they have become rejectors. Why? Because they were rejected. And so there comes a point where we have to recognize that rejection can be a catalyst to being a rejector.
No,
and
facts.
that's what you were
that's
just
facts.
saying.
That's facts. That's facts. It wasn't because of the red pill community.
Well, no. It was the rejection you experienced.
Absolutely.
That made you be like, well, I'm rejecting other people. Yeah.
Yeah, and the rejection wasn't because of the lack of commitment.
Yeah.
Let's say that. The rejection for me was because I have been fearful of giving up all of Anthony ONeal to be misused, to have my vulnerability exposed.
Yeah.
And to trust her with all of me.
Well, because in order to even experience rejection, right?
You have
to first have the hope that you were accepted.
Yes.
Like, think about it. You don't feel rejected by a job you didn't apply for.
Facts.
You don't feel rejected by a woman you're not interested in.
Facts.
You don't feel rejected because some random person's parents don't look at you as their son.
Facts.
You feel rejected because you applied. You feel rejected because you made an interest known, right?
Facts,
you feel rejected because your mother, your father walked away.
Facts.
And so when you experience rejection, it doesn't just injure your pride, it actually shatters hope, which ends up injuring your heart.
Yeah.
So what I believe is, because there are so many people walking around with the pain of rejection, we almost walk around in this like invisible wall where we're trying to protect a heart that has been cracked by rejection. We don't want it to continue to be injured, because what happens is cracks lead to shatters. And there are so many people who are bitter. You get in relationships with people who can't even relax in the relationship because of rejection they experience.
Yeah.
So that's why this message is important, because I believe rejection is the most common form of human trauma.
Okay.
A lot of people are hurting people. They're hurting each other because of unaddressed pain from rejection. But the contention I'm making is that if you understand how to see rejection the way God sees it, it actually is a gift.
No, I agree. How? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because so many of us have been rejected right now.
Yeah.
And we're living in that pain. And here's the truth. We're going to be rejected again.
Absolutely.
It's coming.
Yeah.
I've been rejected by brands I wanted to work with. I've been rejected by partners I wanted to partner with. Heck, I've been rejected by ladies that I wanted to date.
Oh, say it ain't so.
It's facts. You know what I'm saying? That's the truth.
Yeah.
I think at this age that I'm at now, I've learned how to deal with rejection and how it doesn't impact me as much. It still impacts.
Of course.
But it doesn't impact me as much, right?
Yeah.
Nona gets rejected tomorrow. How do you process that rejection tomorrow?
Okay. In order to even answer that, I need to give you like a biblical framework.
Let's talk about it. Okay.
And so this is what opened my eyes to how God can actually make rejection work for our good and his glory. So you know the story of David and Goliath. Everybody knows the story of David and Goliath, right? It's in 1 Samuel 17. There's this young shepherd boy, and there's this huge Philistine giant. And man, this shepherd boy defeats the giant. Everybody knows that.
Yep.
But very few people know the backstory.
Talk to us.
And how he became able to even do that. Yeah. So 1 Samuel 16, there's a prophet named Samuel. And God tells him, I want you to go to this man named Jesse.
Yeah.
I've chosen one of his sons to be the next king after Saul.
Yeah.
So Samuel goes to Jesse and he tells Jesse, hey, bring all of your sons. We're going to do a sacrifice, right? So Jesse brings 7 of his sons. Samuel meets them. And he's like, none of them are chosen. Are these all the sons you have? And Jesse's like, oh, no, they're still the youngest. He's out in the field tending sheep. What's interesting in that is it wasn't that Jesse didn't know where his youngest son was. Like, he wasn't there because Jesse didn't know where he was. No, Jesse knew where he was. He just didn't invite him. So he leaves this young boy out in the field by himself tending sheep, right? And you would look at that and be like, dang, that's messed up.
Yeah.
But fast forward, we find out that young boy was named David. And so when he sees Goliath, this huge giant, right? He goes to Saul and he's like, I'll fight him. Saul looks at him and he's like, you can't fight him. He's been a warrior since his youth. You're nothing but a little boy. David says, what you don't understand, Saul, is I've been keeping my father's sheep. And when a lion or a bear would come and would take one of the sheep, I would go after it, I would attack it, and I would kill it. And he said, the hand of the Lord protected me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear. And this Philistine will be just like one of them. Think about what David didn't say. He didn't say, when a lion or a bear came, my father and my brothers protected me. No. He says, I was in a field by myself. And the hand of the Lord protected me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear. And because I know God through that isolation, through that rejection, I can defeat this one. And so the contention that I make in this book is that rejection is a training ground.
Yeah.
There are lessons that it will teach you. Because here's the thing, the pain is its wrapping paper.
Facts.
When rejection happens, it comes wrapped in pain.
Yeah.
But the gift is on the inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the lessons that it will teach you about yourself and about others. That's the vantage point that we have to have. And what I'm trying to teach people to understand is when that rejection happens, you have to discipline yourself to say, okay, what is this teaching me about myself? What is this teaching me about other people that I can carry into the future? That is the big gift. There are 4 little gifts that I'll get into later, but that's the big gift. There are things that rejection teaches you if you're willing to learn the lesson. But many times we don't learn the lesson. We just allow the pain to teach us not to love. We allow the pain to teach us not to dream. We allow the pain to teach us not to hope. But that's not the lesson.
Nona. I think we're gonna go viral for the right reasons. No, I'm serious because I mean you're teaching good that a lot of people have been rejected. I remember when I was doing prepaid legal, and my person above me, I was like, hey man, I'm ready to make some money. He said, all right, but you want to make some money today? I was like, yeah. All right, go get some tapes. Back then we had tapes. We didn't have CDs. Tell him my age. Lord,
this was a minute ago. Wow.
He said, Anthony, I want you to go to a neighborhood. I want you to go knock on all the doors. I said, bet.
Cold calls.
I'm telling legal insurance. Bet. Everybody wants legal insurance. Got to that first door, rejected. Second door, open the blinds. What you want? I'm gonna prepare legal. Get off my yard. Rejected. Third one, rejected. I called him. I said, hey man, this ain't working. He said, bro, keep going. He said, you want to make some money, right? I said, yes, sir. Keep going. I didn't sell one legal insurance, and I knocked on 100 doors in that neighborhood. Got back in the car, drove home. I was so hurt. I was ready to quit, people. I was ready to quit, ready to quit. And then, you know, they had those gatherings every once a week, big gatherings. And I get there, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm not built for this. Nobody wants to do it. Everyone told me no. He said, that's what you learned? He looked at me and said, that's what you learned. I was like, what's to learn? I didn't sell nothing. He was like, maybe you should quit. Maybe you're not built for this. He was like, because if you only learned no, but if you didn't learn something from that process to teach you to help you get the yes, you're not built for the yes. Because if you got a yes, it gets to your head.
Oh, yeah.
If you got no's, it shouldn't get to your heart. That should be like, okay, wait, why did they say no? Maybe I said something wrong. Maybe I could have said something differently. Maybe it's not knocking on doors. Maybe I need to figure out a different route of how to engage with people. And while I'm not sitting here endorsing network marketing for everyone, what I learned in network marketing is the power of rejection. And it's the power of no. Because now when you tell me no, my first thought is not, you rejected me. The feeling may be like, dang, that's a no. But now my mind activates and it says, okay, wait, what could I have learned from that experience? That when I go to the next person, I can articulate it differently. Maybe I can articulate it better. And then maybe I get closer to the yes. And now when I hit a yes, Nona, it's more money.
Right.
You know, because like I've learned so much to where you can't hurt me with a no.
I think the two most emotionally fragile types of people are people who either experience rejection and never grow past it, or people who never experience rejection.
Ooh, hey, ooh, Nona, we about to talk. because here's the thing, Nona. That second part.
Yeah.
I'm going all over the place. I'm going off the script, but it's Nona. She's sister.
Yeah.
How many parents are trying to protect their kids from the rejection?
Participation trophies. I don't want you to feel bad. So the fact that you showed up, I'm going to give you, that is not life. Life doesn't reward you for attendance. Life rewards you for performance.
You are talking.
And I think what we do is we allow rejection to do one of two things. We either allow it to make us bitter.
Yep.
Where it's like, man, ain't nobody good in this world. I'm not going for, or we allow it to limit us. So I guess I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I'm not going to even try.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, there's a lesson in it.
Yeah.
You can learn and you can grow. I think rejection is one of the most powerful teachers because it does reveal areas of fragility, right? It's like, okay, like you had that experience where it was like, man, I need to quit because everybody said no. Not everybody wants to buy what you're selling, but there will be someone who does.
Oh, yes.
And you have to get to the place where you believe so deeply in what you are selling, even if that is just who you are, right? Let's talk about relationships for a minute. You have to get to the place that you know who you are, to the point where if somebody decides that they don't want to take you out, somebody decides that you are not the one they want to marry, that's okay, because that doesn't change the fact.
Nah, they're crazy if they say no to me.
Well, the question is, who are you asking? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who are we asking?
Just play it.
But you have to get to the place where you know who you are. As a matter of fact, so there are 4 gifts of rejection that I talk about in the book, but one in particular is, I say the gift of rejection anchors your identity.
Okay.
What do I mean by that?
Yeah.
So if you think about it, people's approval is fickle. It's basically like the current of the sea. To the point where one day people like you, the next day they don't. You could give the best years of your life to somebody, they can decide, I don't want you anymore.
Facts.
So if you allow it, rejection will anchor your identity, because you will realize that you can do everything somebody asks you to do and they can still walk away. So you might as well be who God created you to be.
Might as well.
You might as well. Like what? Why are you going to modulate yourself, change your interests, change your personality just to try to be in the graces of somebody who could decide that they don't want you? Like I would rather be disliked for who I am than liked for who I'm not.
No. You need to get up out of here. You know why I've rejected people in the past?
Why?
Because I wasn't authentic with them about who I was.
Come on. Talk
and that I knew that if I gave them my authentic
they
self,
would find out and then they would leave.
They would leave.
Yeah.
And the problem maybe wasn't on them.
Right.
The problem was maybe on me, because I was programmed that, well, because of where she comes from, because she's in this space, this is the kind of man that she wants.
Right.
So I became that man.
But that's not who you are.
But that wasn't who I was.
Right.
Thinking that who I am is bad.
Yeah.
Not saying I'm perfect. God knows I'm not perfect.
None of us are.
But I'm like, and I've had to apologize to some, like, yo, I have to apologize to you because you're good. It wasn't you. It was me, but I wasn't my authentic self because I was fearful of being rejected by you.
Yeah.
I was fearful to give you the true, authentic Anthony ONeal, because I was fearful that if you saw that, which I want to make sure I'm saying is right.
Yeah.
Social media would cut this up and like, Anthony thinks he's just toxic God. No. But I think there's something about everybody that we don't want public.
Yes.
Right? You cover your husband covers you, that we don't need to know about Nona and your husband. Sarah covers Torre covers Sarah, that there's certain things that we don't need to know about the world. And my thing is, there are certain things I don't want the world to know about me. And I don't want to give it to you. And you be like, whoa, wait a minute. And then it's like, boom. So my fear of rejection is not really fear of you rejecting and saying no to me. It's like, what do I give you during that time that could be turned around and used
against me.
Weaponized.
So in the story of David and Goliath, it's interesting. Right before David even tells Saul, hey, I'll fight Goliath, when he showed up on the battlefield, he went to the battlefield just because his dad wanted him to take lunch to his brothers who were in the army. He shows up on the battlefield and his oldest brother, Eliab, sees him and is like, what are you doing here? You know, you're wicked, you're conceited. Like he just goes in on David, right? But because David had been used to rejection, he heard what Eliab said, and the Bible says he turned around and kept doing what he was doing.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
And so rejection will actually anchor your identity because, again, it will teach you. People will reject you just because they choose to.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you change who you are. That doesn't even mean that you should hide who you are, because at the end of the day, some people just aren't going to. Here's the thing. Imagine that somebody accepts you because of who you pretend to be.
I've been there.
Right?
I've been there.
That is actually rejection, because think about it. They're accepting who you're pretending to be, not who you are. That's rejection. They are literally accepting who you're not.
Talk, sis.
And so I believe that that is why rejection is so powerful, because David, after experiencing all the rejection, all the years, he was like, I come to expect this from you. So let me keep doing what I'm doing. And what happened was, because David kept doing what he was doing, that's when Saul overheard him and told him, hey, come here. If David would have backed down when Eliab started calling him names and would have stopped talking and would have just left, we would have had no David and Goliath.
None. Come on now.
So that's why we have to recognize that, yeah, there are going to be some people who are going to be like, yeah, you're not enough. No, I don't want to be with you. Okay, that's their choice, but that's not your fault.
And that's not a negative on you.
No.
And I think that's what a lot of people, we tend to think, well, what's wrong with me?
No, listen.
Because she or he didn't want to be with me.
People do what they do because of them, not because of you.
Talk.
There is somebody
Talking.
who will see you with all of your faults, all of your flaws, and they will be like, that's what makes me love you, is because you are human. What makes me love you is the fact that we're both on a journey to healing. That's the type of person who's healthy. A person who would see that and be like, oh, you're not perfect, so you're not enough. That's not healthy. You know what I mean? And so I think we have to recognize that. If somebody chooses to walk away from you, that was on them. My mom, I think I may have talked about this in my first interview, but she chose her boyfriend over me. Her boyfriend who was sexually abusing me with her knowledge.
I remember you saying.
She chose him over me. And for years, I wondered, what did I do to deserve that? As a child, I'm 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, she knows what he's doing to me. Had him arrested for it. Brought him back home after being arrested for what he did to me. And he just kept doing it. And I wondered what was wrong with me. I carried her rejection in my heart. It was so heavy that it was like a hole. And I look back on relationship decisions I made and I'm like, on the one hand, I'm like, man, that was so dumb. But it wasn't dumb. It was what rejection taught me.
Fact.
You're not enough. So you have to accept the crumbs of people's attention. You're not enough. So you cannot ask somebody for what you need because they will leave you. And so I believed those things. Those were lies, but I believed them. And that's what made me show up the way I showed up and accept what I accepted. Being cheated on. Being called names. All of that. And if you let rejection have its way in your life, you will do the same thing. But that's why God wants to flip it on its head and have it become your teacher.
What's going on, family? Hey, this show is sponsored by my friends at BetterHelp. This is Anthony ONeal here with a quick question. What are your self-care non-negotiables? You know, those things you never skip, no matter how packed your schedule is. Maybe for you, it's leg day at the gym, or even more crucial, therapy day. When life gets hectic with your projects, kids' activities, and a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to let your own priorities slide. Even when you know what makes us happy, it can be hard to carve out the time. But when you feel like you have no time for yourself, that's when non-negotiables like therapy become more important than ever. If you're thinking about starting therapy, why not give BetterHelp a try? It's all online, making it super convenient and flexible, fitting right into your busy schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and you'll be matched with a licensed therapist who is right for you. And if you feel like you're not clicking, hey, check this out. You can switch therapists at any time with no extra cost. Therapy isn't just for those who faced major trauma in the past. It's also a great tool for those learning positive coping skills, setting boundaries, and becoming the best version of yourself. Thousands of people have found value in it. Just check out their reviews. So never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/AO today to get 10% off your first month. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/AO. Take control of your mental health and make time for you. You deserve it. No, this is good. I'm sitting here while you're talking. You talked about that gift. I want to talk about, do you have a gift that talks about in this area? I mean, because y'all, listen, we just going to be talking. I need y'all to get her book. Okay. This is what happens when I get like my sisters and my brothers in the building, not just people I'm just interviewing, but like when I get family in the building, we just talk. So I want to make sure I promote my sister's book. All right. It comes out, it's actually coming out here next week. All right. And so it's the Gift of Rejection, Harness Your Pain to Propel Your Purpose. These are the kind of books when it comes to building wealth. If you're going to build true wealth, you need to be able to deal with rejection.
Absolutely.
I have been rejected so many times of ideas about this business. I've been rejected so many times about partnering with things that the rejection actually taught me so much. Mm-hmm. And so if you're going to be successful, if you're going to get out of debt, if you're going to build wealth, if you're going to leave a legacy, you need to learn how to deal with rejection, because there's no way in the world. I haven't met not one multimillionaire or billionaire who said they've never been rejected, that all of their ideas have been accepted and received. No. I can't say his name, but I know somebody who just sold an NBA team, and he was rejected by certain people to buy the team.
Yep.
But look what he sold the team for. He was rejected.
Yep.
But he went back to the drawing board and said, yo, wait a minute. Okay, wait, let's talk about it. Wait, let's what's going on? Boom. And so, Nona, I want to talk there. We're going to put her link in today's show notes. She can get that. And I want you to get the book, y'all. We're going to help her sell hundreds of these books, thousands of these books, help her get the list. And then I want her to come join the Nelson family. Anyways, Nona, and I'm trying to say this correctly because I want to make sure that I am still celebrating. At one of my companies I used to work for in my previous years, I had so many good ideas that I presented. But I was laughed at and said, no, that won't work.
Yeah.
And I would go home and I'd be like, well, what, God, I know for a fact this will work. And can I tell you something? No, God was quiet. But I know God gave me the idea.
Yeah.
So I will go back and forth to work like I feel like you rejected me. Yeah. And then I'll come home like, yo, God, are you rejecting me now?
Right.
But those same ideas, Nona, today have made me 7+ figures.
Yeah.
So rejection in a season is not necessarily a no entirely.
Okay, can I tell you a story?
Talk to me.
So one of the gifts of rejection is that it positions you for purpose. Now, I'll tell you what happened to me. So some years ago, I was working for a large company. I wasn't hired as a spokesperson, but the communications team found out that I could speak. I did like an internal event and I spoke at it, and they were like, wow, you're a really good speaker. Would you do conferences for the company? And I was like, sure, I'm happy to. So I started doing conferences and events for the company, speaking at all these things. And it wasn't my core work, but I made sure I was doing my core work, made sure that my team had everything they needed when I was out traveling. And when performance review season came around, like I got an exceeds expectations because I was doing a great job.
Yeah.
But my boss was like, we're gonna need to shut down all that speaking you're doing because I need you to focus on your core work. And I was like, why? You know, what is wrong? Am I missing something? And she was like, no, I just need you to focus on the core work. So I went to the communications director because I was hurt. Like I loved what I was doing. I was having a lot of fun. I went to the communications director and she said to me, listen, my boss came to her and was basically like, I should be the one speaking for the company, not Nona.
Wow.
So here's the thing.
Wow, Nona.
She closed that door, right?
Wow.
So you're giving all these ideas, they close the door. So she closed that door on that speaking for me, right? but she didn't count on the fact that I was covered by the blood of Jesus.
Facts.
Let me tell you what happened.
Okay.
So because I had already done all these events and things, I was getting emails from people asking me to speak at other events.
Okay.
And I said to them, I said, listen, I can't. I'm not allowed to speak on behalf of the company. And they were like, well, that's okay. Can you just speak as you? And I was like, I don't think so. I was like, well, let me ask. So I go to the communications team and I'm like, hey, can I speak as me? And they were like, if you don't use your title or the company, yeah, feel free.
Uh-oh.
Here's the thing.
Uh-oh.
When I was speaking for the company, I couldn't get paid. But when I started to speak as Nona Jones Incorporated, it got to the point that I was making as much in speaking fees as my corporate salary. And so here we find a situation where this woman closes a door.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I didn't even think of myself as a speaker. Like, it was not something I was pursuing.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, I loved what I was doing in the corporate environment. I literally am on this show today,
Yes, ma'am.
speaking all around the world
All around the world.
because of the door that she closed.
Come on.
And the thing that I want to encourage people to know
No, he talk-
is that even if somebody closes a door,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
God can open a window.
Oh, man, listen.
And if they close the window,
Yeah,
God can knock down a wall.
absolutely.
And if they rebuild the wall,
Yeah.
God can tear the roof off. Why? Because he owns the whole house.
Owns it.
So when rejection happens, that's not the end of the story. When rejection happens, that is simply redirection.
Facts.
And God will take every no.
Yeah.
He will take every barricade.
Yes.
He will take every blocker.
Yeah.
And he will use it for your good and for his glory. Because here's the thing, those ideas that you had, those ideas were seed for your purpose.
Yes, ma'am.
So the reason why they wouldn't let those seeds get planted in that ground is because it wasn't for that ground.
It wasn't
It was for the ground
woman.
of the Neatness Network,
This woman right here.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
It wasn't for that.
No, no, no.
For this.
It wasn't.
And so you're frustrated, right? And I hope to encourage people who are listening to, like, you're so frustrated because it's like, no, no, no. And the reason is because they don't deserve
Right.
the seed of what God has placed inside of you.
Facts.
That's why it's a no.
No. All day long, no. I mean, you are so spot on. And we have similar situations. Working for a great,
Yeah.
organization. And so, y'all, I want to do the scene to where we can pray for, for 7 days. I mean, 8 days. 8 days, so new beginning, pray, FYI, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, yeah, no, we don't really see the value of that. And I was like, well, we don't think people show up. I said, people show up. And they said, no. I was like, okay. No problem. And I was so frustrated. And I felt like I wasn't good enough, that my ideas wasn't good enough, that I don't know what it takes to do it. And what God revealed to me close to I'd say about 2.5, 3 years later, is that if you would have did it there,
See?
they own it.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have been their IP.
It's their stuff.
Yep, that's their thing.
What I gave you,
Yes.
I didn't give it to them.
Come on.
And I knew that you were going to be over here.
Come on.
And so as whatever I gave you during that season, watch this.
Yeah.
And this is why, see, I'm teaching good.
Yes.
What he gave me during that season was for that ground.
Come on.
It was for them.
Yeah.
And God was like, I want to see, can you be a good steward over here and do your thing over here? It's not perfect. Still made mistakes everywhere I was in the past, right? He was like, but what I gave you during that season, I wanted it for that ground to help that purpose, because that's my place too.
Yeah.
But certain things that I gave you,
Yes.
I gave you to start marinating on, let it get into your spirit, start thinking about things for your assignment
Yes.
that's going to impact people who needed that.
Yes.
And I was like, God, what in the world? So we did Pray FYI. 10,000 people registered. 5,000 people showing up to this thing. And I'm like, God, you funny. Because I felt rejected, Nona. And I felt less than. But I think a lot of people are missing out on blessings. And when you feel rejected, you throw out what God gave you.
Absolutely.
And God is saying, no, get it back up. Because it just wasn't for this season.
Come on.
It was for the next season.
Come on.
And this is why y'all got to get Nona's book, because it's like, I think how we deal and respond to rejection impacts relationships,
Yes.
impacts our inner thoughts, impacts our money, impacts our legacy, because the ideas that are making my company money now. So I gotta be careful on how I'm saying things, but because I just want to make sure that I'm not saying anything wrong or disrespectful, but God knew for a certain amount of time, I would have to be creative with how I made money.
Yeah.
So he gave me ideas that he knew that for a season, this is what's going to provide. Mm-hmm. And if I would have went off of rejection, no, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that is so many people's story, is when you think about it, rejection becomes like a fork in the road, right? Where it's like you could either succumb to it and go down the path that God did not intend you to go down.
Yeah.
Or you can rise above it and learn from it.
Yeah.
And God can use it.
Yeah.
And that is the whole point. That's the whole message. It's not the end. Rejection is not the end. It's a teacher.
Man. All right, we're coming to the end of the show. She's traveling, y'all. She got another situation happening. Nona, I want to know from you, from a teaching point, when did Nona realize, I'm curious, that I'm looking at rejection wrong?
Yeah.
What was that pivotal moment that you was like, you know what, I'm using it wrong. Let me use it here. And how did you get to where you are today? Because y'all, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, there hasn't been no one of substance that Nona hasn't spoken for. Mm-hmm. She's spoken for Bishop Jakes, Sarah Jakes, Craig Roche. I mean, she's spoken for some of the most profound names, some of the most impactful businesses, right, in the world. Nona Jones is a worldwide name, right? But to see you rise, there was rejection in there.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And to see you doing things, I'm like, okay, like, I want to know, what was that pivotal moment? And how did you use that to excel and to move forward? And how are you moving forward? Yeah. Because I think a lot of people get confused when they look at people like us. Oh, they got everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, no one's telling them no.
Oh, please.
What? Like, can I be honest and vulnerable? I was scared to release my book. Because I was scared, will people reject me and not buy this book?
Yeah.
And when I looked at Instagram, I didn't have many likes.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a great book.
Right.
What in the world?
What is going on?
But then I realized something. God said, you're basing the success of this book on likes?
Whew. Wow.
And I was like, huh. And I literally had to remind myself this thing, right? So I think a lot of people think, oh man, Sarah Jakes, Bishop Jakes, LeBron James, Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Can we be real? Oh, I'm about to be real again. Oh my gosh, I'm about to be real again. Jason Tatum. Can we go? Like Jason Tatum, who just won the NBA championship, carried the Celtics to win.
Yeah.
Gets invited to the USA team in the Olympics and plays twice.
Yep.
This man beat everybody on stage. Yep. He beat LeBron. He beat Steph. He beat KD. He beat them all.
Beat everybody.
And was rejected.
Yeah.
So people at this level, we all experience it.
Yeah.
But like, Nona, what was your pivotal moment?
Sure.
How are you dealing with that now, and how's it helping you now?
Yeah. So my kind of epiphany actually involved a relational rejection. And I'll share that. Okay. But I will say this before I even say that, like, as I'm releasing a book about rejection, I'm experiencing rejection in releasing the book. Yeah. So like I've had, friends whose projects I've supported where I'm like, hey, can you endorse or can you do whatever? Either say no or no response.
Exactly.
I've had, people who have platforms, like friends. I'm like, hey, can we talk about the book? That's why I'm so grateful for you and other friends who are like, yeah, man, sis, come on. Who've been like, no, and so I've learned, I thank God for what I've learned though, because it doesn't hurt me.
Yeah.
What happened was when I was in high school, I was in a relationship with a guy. He was like my first boyfriend, was like, truly in love with him. He was so smart and just everything I thought I wanted in a husband. Well, to fast forward, one summer he was doing an internship and he wasn't in town, but when he came back, he was like, hey, I want to take you to the movies. Let's go out. So I'm super excited. I'm like, yes, we're gonna go. An hour before we're supposed to go, he contacts me and he's like, hey, I had a family emergency, come up, can't do it. And so I was like, okay, cool. So of course I was hurt, but I was like, all right, I'll get some of my friends together. We'll go to the movies anyway. So I go to the movie theater, I'm standing in line to buy a ticket, look over.
No.
He is standing in line holding hands
with another
girl. Now, here's the thing. He looks over, he sees me, like color leaves his face. All right, now he's, brown skinned brother. He goes completely ashy.
Right, right.
And that thing hurt me so bad. And he called me afterwards, was trying to like apologize on all this stuff. I would not take his call. I was so hurt. Anyway, so hold that piece there.
Yeah.
Fast forward, I'm working at Meta.
Okay.
And a pastor friend reaches out to me and is basically like, hey, can you please help me? I need to get one of my mentees' pages taken down. Now, I've worked at Meta for years. Right. Nobody has ever asked me to take a page down. They've always asked, can you help me get it back up?
Back up. And I reached out to you.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was just like, why would you want to do that? That makes no sense. And he was like, look, one of my mentees, his page, there's people just posting all kind of mean things on it. I just want to get it taken down just to protect him. And I was like, all right, so this is weird, but I'll see what we can do.
Right.
I said, send me a link to the page. He sends me the link. When I open the link, staring back at me is my ex-boyfriend.
Oh, man.
Here's the thing.
Wow.
He had been murdered by his mistress. The reason why people were posting crazy things on his page is because he had been murdered by his mistress, who also tried to kill his wife.
No.
And so I'm sitting here looking, and apparently it was national news. I didn't know, because all I watch is Food Network. I didn't watch it. So I'm reading all this. I search the articles. I find the story. Yes, he had been cheating on his wife with many women, but he'd been cheating on his wife. Turns out his wife was the woman he was at the movies with.
No.
Now, that told me two things. Either he was cheating on her with me, or cheating on me with her.
Right.
But either way, I was so heartbroken because I felt like something was wrong with me. He chose her. She's better than me. Right. I'm not good enough. When in fact, God was protecting me. And so I went and I prayed and I said, Lord, thank you for protecting me. And in that prayer, I heard the Lord say, Nona, you're thanking me because you now know I was protecting you. But when the rejection happened, you thought it was the worst thing that could happen to you. He said, you have to trust me that in my hands, rejection will always be a gift.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever heard that language.
Yeah.
And that was the pivotal moment where I began to reflect on the arc of my life.
Yeah.
All the rejections I experienced. I'm talking about professional rejection. We hadn't even gotten into that. I'm talking about relationships, my mom, just all of it. And I realized, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There is something that all of these experiences have taught me about myself and about other people.
Yeah.
Here I am thinking that something's wrong with me, that he did this because something was wrong with me, when in fact, no, something was wrong with him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But God protected me. And so now, even as I'm releasing this book about rejection and experiencing rejections, I'm just like, all right, Lord, show me the lesson in it. What's the lesson?
What's the lesson?
What's the lesson that I can learn? Is it about the person? Is it about me?
Nah, I feel you on that, Nona. I feel you on that one. I relate with you on that one. And one thing God told me, and he's teaching me throughout this journey of releasing my third book, I've had friends who didn't respond.
Oh, yeah.
But can't one friend say I've never responded to them?
Come on.
Not one.
See, I'm the same way.
Nah.
I'm the exact same way.
You call me, get on the show, hands down.
Yeah.
You need endorsement? Hell yeah. And what God has really taught me is that you've put so much trust in people who will reject you that you didn't put it in me, and I've never rejected you.
Ooh.
And he was like, and so what I feel God is trying to teach us is that if you're gonna put it all on man, see how far you get with men.
Ooh.
If you put it all on me, see how far you'll get with me, God. And I was like, all right. I hear you. And so I was like, I'm gonna stop asking. I'm gonna stop sending follow-up emails.
Listen, I asked once. No, I'm telling you.
Seriously?
I asked once and I let it go because, and I'll leave with this because I know we gotta wrap. One of the revelations God gave me that I talk about in the book is that rejection reveals people's role in your destiny.
Yeah.
And there are two types of people. So there are those who are attached and those who are assigned.
Ooh.
When a person is attached to you, they're connected to you for as long as the relationship benefits them.
Yep.
As long as you're channeling benefits in their direction, they are more than happy to stay along for the ride.
Yep.
But the moment you stop benefiting them, they begin to detach.
Yeah.
And what happens is we feel their detachment and it triggers our insecurity.
Yeah.
And so we feel the need to run after them and try to figure out what's going on.
Facts.
But the second type of person is a person who's assigned to you.
Yeah.
And that's a person who's not in the relationship for what they can get out of it.
Yeah.
They are literally in the relationship for what they can contribute to you.
Yeah.
And the mistake we make is when an attached person starts to detach,
Yeah.
we go after them and we shift our energy away from the people assigned to us
Yeah.
to try to keep them attached to us.
Wow.
So we end up giving assignment energy to an attached person. But what I'm learning is when they don't respond,
Good God.
when they walk away,
Yeah. Yeah.
when they can't be counted on,
Yeah.
they're simply revealing that the role that they played in your life
Yeah.
has ended. No bitterness.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna be bitter about it, no grudges.
Facts.
I just see it for what it is.
Yeah.
That's why I asked once.
Once. Listen, y'all, we can talk more. Nona is my girl, man. We are in a
I love you, bro.
we are in a group, man, and we all be laughing and cracking up. And I love what Nona is doing and building. We're gonna put the link to her book, The Gift of Rejection, inside of today's show notes. Y'all get it. I mean, seriously, a lot of you all are trying to pay off debt. You're trying to build wealth. You're trying to build a business, right? And here's the truth. You're going to get rejected. Friends of yours are going to reject you. Loved ones, family members are going to reject you. We didn't even talk about that. I've been rejected by my own family, right? And I'm like, it is difficult. It is hard, but how you deal with it determines your future.
That's it.
And if you can learn this skill, learn this gift, and learn how to use the rejection as a gift, you're going to be strong. You're going to be wealthy. You're going to be impactful. And I just pray that this show bless you because I love having real, honest questions. I had like 5 questions on that I didn't even ask because I just felt like, she's family. We can just go with the spirit. Yeah. It's always you, Anita, Sarah, and Stephen Chandler. Like, I just feel like whenever y'all come on the show, I'm like, why do I have questions? Because I could just when y'all say something, I'm like, yo, let's go there.
Right, yeah.
And I'm not knocking anyone else who's been on the show, right? I've had some amazing people be on the show, and I'm grateful. We got some dope people coming up on the show as well. But, this is a book, you all, that you need to get, all right? So thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you check it out, and we'll see you on the next show. Peace out.